All right, welcome in. Welcome back to the BFR Podcast presented by Sports Mockery. My name is Dave. I cover the Bears for sportsmockery.com. You can check out all my work over there. Check out me on all socials at Dave_BFR as well. And I am joined by my good friend, Chicago Bears content creator, Ficky. You follow him on all socials. It's Ficky, baby. Ficky, man, fun show today. Obviously, we have Taj Washington joining us here shortly. Star USC wide receiver. I mean, absolutely electric at USC.
Yeah.
But
No
before
question.
we get to that, man, how are you feeling?
Man,
9 days.
Good, bro. You just said it right there. 9 days, man. This is the last show till the actual draft. And I know we talk about how long this offseason has been, like between the Civil War quarterback debate and then also like it seems like this waiting for the draft when we already know we're taking Caleb as one has been like even longer. I think I've probably read or viewed at least 200 mock drafts by now. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of ready for the draft to get here so we can figure out who we're taking at 9 and 75.
Yeah, the Civil War kind of feels like a while ago. Honestly, feels like ancient history, which is a good thing.
Yes,
You don't see the toxicity or anything like that right now. I think it's relatively calm, which is odd for Bears Twitter.
Yes, it is. We'll take it though.
But yeah, knock on wood there. But we have, like I said, USC Taj Washington. He's going to be joining us talking about just the NFL draft process. He's about 9 days away from his life changing. Obviously, I'm a big fan of his, Ficky, you as well.
Yeah.
And then just to kind of get to know him a little bit better, of course, we'll talk Caleb Williams. He was, obviously an absolute weapon for him at USC. I mean, I was just looking at some of his film, some of his tape that he put up the last 2 years with Caleb.
Wow.
It's crazy. So fun to kind of talk about that. A lot of good things there. Before he hops on, we're going to go ahead and talk about Peter Schrager, NFL Network. He had a very interesting mock draft. And I know mock drafts, for me personally, this might be an unpopular opinion. I've told you, Ficky, off air, but it's exhausting, man. Like it is tiring, to be honest, when it comes to the mock drafts and you get to 9 days away from, the draft in general. But when Peter puts his out, he only puts about 2 a year. You kind of at least have to take it with, you have to hold, it holds some value. So Ficky, you want to kind of talk about what he kind of, his conclusion, what he came to, what he's hearing around the league. And it was very surprising what he kind of passed up on. So
yeah, absolutely. And again, I think, I don't know who said, maybe Dane Brugler from the Athletic. He said, or maybe it wasn't Dane. I think it was Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network. He talks about like when he does mock drafts, it's not about what you see, it's about what you hear. You know what I mean? And so I think Peter approached this mock draft in that same type of like light and the essence where he's like, I'm going off just all the people I've talked to, what I'm kind of hearing around the league. Now, again, this is a mock draft. They're very hard to get right. I analyzed Peter's mock draft from last year. He did our 2 years ago, he actually nailed the Jets. He got like the Garrett Wilson and the Sauce Gardner-Johnson. So obviously he's going to get some hits there, but like obviously there's a bunch of misses within that. So again, take it with a grain of salt. But to get to what he had, which I think kind of pissed Bears Twitter off, was that at number 9, right, there's two things that happened. First off, Malik Neighbors fell to 9, which is kind of crazy, right? A lot of people have said, hey, this is wide receiver 2. And we've heard the narrative now that he might be wide receiver 1, which neither of us believe, right? So, but we're sitting there at 9. Rome Odunze is already gone. Malik Neighbors is there. Instead of taking Malik Neighbors, we trade back, okay? We trade back with the Indianapolis Colts to, where are they at? I think 13 or something like, no, 13 is the Raiders. I think it may be a little bit further than that. But past 13, past 14, and we end up taking J.C. Latham. But we do have Taj Washington here, so we'll get back to that after we start this great combo with Taj.
Let me unmute myself and we'll get Taj up on here. See if he can hear us. Hey, Taj, can you hear us, man?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Awesome, man. So, hey, first of all, thank you for hopping on. We appreciate it. Obviously, Chicago fans love you right now. And you're about 9 days away from your life kind of changing in regards to the NFL draft. So, Taj, before we hop into anything, man, how you feeling? Is it crazy? Is it feel surreal, or are you kind of just been ready for this moment?
I'm feeling good, man. Just ready to play football again, pretty much. Like, just ready to help. Who needs my help.
Feel that is the process like from my perspective, it feels draining. I'm a fan, And I'm like, man, it just get me to the draft, right? So from your perspective, obviously you're grateful to be in the situation, all that yada yada. We understand that, but like, does it put a lot on you, like from a mental standpoint?
Oh, for sure, most definitely. But just growing up, I always had a great support system. Like, great people around me, great family. Like, so it's kind of just part of the journey, part of the process that we've always, lived like throughout, my journey to make it up to this point.
And is there a location that you'll be watching, like fam? How many people? Have you decided on all that yet?
I'll be in Texas. Draft gonna be, more intimate, with my family or whatever, and then we'll just celebrate after.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I know you're from Texas area. Are you a Cowboys fan?
I never really had a team growing up. Majority of my family Cowboys fans. But I just always like watching good football, like for the most part.
Yeah.
So you couldn't have been a Cowboys fan then, right? I'm just kidding.
Hey, but there's some good teams, back in the day.
They did.
So Taj, you played. I was doing some research on you. You played back in like middle school. It looks like you played running back. You played cornerback. Obviously, you're a receiver now. Have you always been like that versatile? Like, are you like? How did you end up wide receiver, and like, what made you stick to that position?
Yeah, growing up, I played a lot of defense and running back pretty much. I was always a little physical kid, People said I was always rough. Just going through high school, just smaller, so I, had to take running back out of it. I was still physical, so I played defense, junior high, then my freshman year. Towards the end of my freshman year of high school, I got moved up to varsity, going towards playoffs. So had to run a little scout team receiver, on that end as well. I'm just cooking, you know what I'm saying? So,
it worked out pretty well.
First thing we're going to do in the spring, you're going to play wide out. So just from my sophomore year on, pretty much play wide out.
And once you moved to wide receiver, were there certain wide receivers in the NFL that you kind of molded your game after, or did you have a favorite wide receiver growing up that you were like, yeah, that's how I kind of want to play?
Not really. Like, majority of my life, I just watched a lot of college football. So, like, around that time, like, it was guys like Tavon Austin, Brandon Cooks. I don't know if you remember guy Victor Bowden. He was an Oregon State guy as well. DeAnthony Thomas. So I was just watching playmakers like all the time.
Tavon Austin, dude, his mixtape on you is crazy.
Wild.
To this day.
Crazy.
It's fun to watch. Now Taj, you actually made the switch. So you played for Memphis to start your college career. And then you, similar to like Caleb, you moved to USC, obviously for kind of two different reasons. But how was that transition? Like, was that pretty seamless, smooth? Because I know you were really fond of Memphis. I think the head coach at the time that recruited you ended up leaving, if I'm not mistaken. That kind of made the transition a little bit easier to go to USC. But how was that entire process, man?
It was a little rough, going from East Texas to Memphis to California, very different, going from the South to the West Coast. Never had been to California a day in my life before I went. So it took me a little time to adjust, especially like around time of, COVID still happening a little bit. So more restricted in the West Coast versus the South. So it kind of limited, social interaction and just, meeting people, even meeting teammates. I didn't really meet everybody till like end of summer workouts, stuff like that. So
wow.
It was tough. And then just that first season there, after the second game losing, Coach Hilton, it kind of even made it rougher, and then we didn't have a great season. So it just took some time. But was able to, meet the right people, build the right relationships and, grow from there.
Yeah. And do you think that transition, right, because you had to move around so much, do you think there's some skills that you learned from that or at least experience that will make the NFL transition like a little bit easier in your opinion?
Almost definitely. Just how to adapt. Just main thing, just being yourself. If you just be yourself, the right people going, create themselves around you and, and create their right circle and people you want to be with just by being yourself.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and Taj, this is kind of a little bit off topic, but I watched an interview with you, and you obviously talked about cornerback matchups and who you'd kind of want to go against the lead. You said Sauce Gardner, which I was like, okay, I like that matchup there. Do you have anybody else that you kind of like eyeing that you want get to meet, but also like obviously that competitive side? You know, I want to go against the best of the best outside of Sauce Gardner.
No, not really. That Sauce comment was from college, us playing in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on Jaylen Johnson at all? Watch any of his tape?
I don't have an opinion.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's smart.
That's fair.
That's cool. Ficky.
Yeah. So the transition from, obviously, I think you're from like a rural area in Texas, right? Right. A smaller type of area in Texas, moving to LA, right? Which obviously big names, especially USC, right? You got big names throughout there, right? How was that to go? Because I'm from a small town myself. And when I moved to Atlanta, there was obviously some things you had to kind of learn and adjust to. What was probably the biggest hurdle, or like, what's the biggest thing that you learned in such a transition like that?
You know, it kind of goes back to just being yourself, bro. Like, you see a lot of people come to LA, you know, that's where you get the term like Hollywood, people change, you know, people act a certain way. But just, you know, just being yourself. Like, I'm a country boy, you know what I'm saying? I take full, you know, ownership of that and who I am, you know what I'm saying? And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, you do. You know, and it's kind of like helped tremendously. I'm very genuine, and people like, you know, when people genuine, people like to be around that, you know, good energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Taj, I know this one, you seem pretty laid back. So as far as like the draft goes, like, do you have any team, obviously the Cowboys, that's home, kind of closer. Do you have any team that you'd like want to go to? You feel like, oh, this would be a good fit, or are you kind of just open to anything when it comes to getting in the league?
I just want to go where I can be valued at, you know, where I can help as much as I can. I can make plays and help make the people around me better.
Yeah.
Fair. Have you met with, well, how many teams have you met with? And then, if you don't mind sharing, and then also, did you meet with the Bears at all?
Pretty much everybody. Between, you know, Ryan game, come on, all of that. So pretty much everybody.
Is go ahead, Dave.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I've heard a lot of good things about the Shrine game. Did you enjoy that whole entire, you know, process, that game, just everything leading up to it?
Oh yeah, most definitely. That was fun. To just learn from, you know, the guys that's, you know, coaching in the NFL, you know, NFL systems, how they work. Just meeting the guys from around the country that you've heard of, or, you know, you watch them play on TV, just being around those guys, getting to meet them in person. It's just a great opportunity, and just to showcase, you know, what you already put on film. Just show them in person, you know, what it is.
Yeah.
And maybe on the other side of the coin, right? We know there are some situations which aren't as favorable, like the interviews, I would say, maybe, because there's definitely some crazy questions some of these teams ask. Was there a question that you ever got and you're like, what was that? You don't have to share what team, but did you get any weird questions?
Oh, for sure. I think it's part of it. It's more about response than the actual answer.
Right.
And but, you know, yeah, it's a few funny ones out there for sure.
Would you say it's more like, is it just a couple here and there, or do you think kind of like a lot of the teams just kind of ask at least one random question to kind of see how you would approach that question?
I feel like it's a lot of mix between the player and whatever team that it is. It could be anything, you know, just depend. It's just a lot of, you know, different variables that go within that. Maybe it's a specific scout or anything like that may be known for like this or that question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And Taj, I kind of want to circle it back to the Bears real quick. Obviously, Keenan Allen was traded for. He was up at USC and everything like that. And the duo of him and DJ Moore has been talked about a lot. First of all, I'm not going to put you too much on the spot. But like, what are your thoughts on that duo? And like, maybe how do you think it ranks just in the top of the NFL when it comes to, like, you know, the best in the league? What were your thoughts just on that trade in general?
I feel like it's a great thing, especially for the organization. Like, you know, to have, you know, two playmakers there, and guys that can really help. You know, and Keenan Allen, like a guy that can help a lot of young guys. You know, know the game and just come make plays, you know, that you need somebody that's solidified, you know, and a playmaker.
Did you have someone like someone at USC that kind of helped you under their wing that you could kind of learn from, or when you kind of came there, you became kind of that guy?
Just a lot of mixture of both, you know, because when I got here, Drake was here. Amon-Ra had just left. So I just caught, you know, the back end of, you know, Drake taught me a lot, you know, how things went there. But, you know, our time together was so short before he left. So, I mean, it's different, you know.
Yeah.
I feel that. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I was going to say about, because your 2023 season was, I mean, I think it was pretty remarkable. 59 receptions, over 1,000 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, honorable mention all Pac-12. You led the team in receiving. Like there's a lot of talk about, you know, USC this year was kind of a struggle, right? Like maybe expectations weren't met, and that's fair to say. But like for you personally, how was this season? Because it feels like, it's pretty good, at least on paper.
For sure. I mean, it was a good season on paper. It was just tough. You know, we didn't win the games that we wanted to win, that we, you know, should have. You know,
yeah.
It was just tough that way. You know, like leave a lot of games. You know, saying like, you know, player for player, that team wasn't better than us. They just, you know, beat us today. So
yeah,
that was the toughest part, knowing that we were better than what we put out there.
And there could be a likelihood, right? We don't know where you're going to go, but you could get drafted to a team that may not win a lot of games. So what do you feel is almost a positive that obviously you don't want to lose, but like you were able to deal with that adversity? Like what's your biggest takeaway from the losing to those teams you shouldn't have lost last year? And how can you take that into the NFL and use that?
I guess just sharing it, you know, like having that experience and how to share that with other guys and stuff I seen. It just gave me a perspective on, you know, I know what winning looks like. I know what losing looks like. You know what I'm saying? And what I say can be valid.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's awesome.
I want to go back to USC here for a second. You're talking about, you had Amon-Ra that went there, Drake London. There's been tons of great wide receivers that come through USC, including yourself and your colleague, your teammate, Brandon Rice. So based off all that, is USC the number one wide receiver school all time?
Man, is it a question?
Yeah. Hey, man, recently Ohio State's been putting out some guys too, though. I mean, they're at least the last few years. So Taj, I want to, obviously you played with one of the most electric, you know, quarterbacks in college that we've seen in a very long time, Caleb Williams. Obviously, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. He's coming to Chicago. But there's a lot of talk, just obviously you said the noise, being in LA that comes with it. Can you tell us just personally, like, how is he as a teammate? How do you guys interact? Like, how was that connection? Because you guys have been together, what, 2 years you guys played?
Oh, yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
It's always funny, like, just reading everything and saying everything. Like,
yeah.
Because you notice, it's like your boy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's your boy, and, like, he just has, you know, a lot of eyes on him, or a lot of things, you know, people just looking at or nitpicking to see. So it's like, it's just funny because, like, somebody don't know them, like, they don't know them, but just, he, you know, a regular dude, cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, go to his crib, eat, stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
I cook, he cooks, or whatever. Just hanging out. It's funny. I don't know how to explain it. It just be funny to me.
Yeah.
It's lion season. That's what it is. You don't have to say it, but we can say it as fans. People they just ready for clicks, man. That's all it is.
Yeah.
They pick like 1 or 2 people each year that they're like, all right, we're going to take you down as far as we can. You know what I mean? So,
thanks.
Yeah. But you mentioned something that was good. If you don't mind, Dave.
No,
you said when you'd go to Caleb's house, he'd cook, you could cook, right? We obviously know that you cook and you cook pretty well. Are you a better cook than Caleb?
Oh, he know. He be playing. He know what's up.
Is that YouTube channel? Like, you obviously I think you're partnered with HelloFresh for a while. Are you going to continue that? I think it's like Chef Taj, right? Once you get in the league.
Yeah, as I continue to grow, I want the channel to grow, the brand to grow as well.
Yeah,
that's something that I'm passionate about outside of football. And that's something I love to do for real.
Yeah.
I think you're on a USC podcast, and sorry if I can't remember the name, about 4 months ago. And you had talked about, you had aspirations, obviously not during the NFL season because there's too much going on, or during your NFL career, but aspirations to actually start your own, kitchen, right? And actually work in it. Do you still have those aspirations?
Oh, for sure.
What's your go-to cuisine? Or like, what would you do in that situation? Like,
I pretty much cook everything, man. Like whatever somebody, literally, like I like to challenge myself. People always ask me your favorite thing to cook. I like to say the next thing because it's just, I just like the process of it. I'm more of a service type of chef anyway. Like
That
I don't really eat for I don't cook for myself all the time. Like I like cooking for other people.
I think that's how the best chefs are. They're always making the best dish for somebody else. They don't care how it tastes to them.
I might be crazier, but I feel like that line you just said, Taj, it just went so hard. You said, people ask me what I like to cook. You said the next thing. I'm like, that's crazy, man. That's like a t-shirt right there. That's good.
Hey, NFL scouts, he loves a challenge. He loves a challenge.
He's already good at the marketing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Taj, two more things before we get you out of here. Obviously NCAA football, college football is coming back. I think you're big. I think you're big in Madden. I think there was an interview as well. You said that you still have like the PS3 game for like NCAA college football. Like, how excited are you? Like, it's coming out July. How excited are you, man?
I'm very excited to start my dynasty. With my boys.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. Do you dabble in Madden too? Do you do with like online franchise or anything like that?
Yeah. I got about 4 or 5 franchises.
4 or 5, my man. That's crazy. That's awesome.
So, longtime Chicago Bear Kyle Long, like he's retired now, but like he loves Madden, and like he's been telling us like all the NFL guys, like they're all getting into Madden. Like that's what they do. Like there's so many that just a lot of people are streaming it now, obviously on Twitch, YouTube and everything like that. So it's a crazy time. One more thing, like I said, Taj. Obviously with Caleb Williams, and he is coming to Chicago, and we would love to have you as well. Like I feel like personally you'd just be a great fit. Just locker room, obviously the speed, everything you bring would be awesome. Can you tell us with either whether it be practice or just kind of just an interaction because you guys are friends? Like, can you tell us a story maybe that no one's heard about Caleb that kind of might be able to resonate deeper than just all the headlines? Does that make sense?
Man, it's like pick one.
Nothing crazy, man.
Yeah, of course. I would just say like I would just say this. Yeah, I'll say this. Just like 2 years ago, I think before the 22 season, we did like a Beats commercial, and I was like, this before we had built our relationship and things like that.
Yeah.
This was like right after spring ball. He texted me like, "Hey, you trying to do this commercial?" I'm like, "Huh?" So I just go out there, and just it was a blessing to get the shirt eight experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ran routes for him, stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, for a person that barely knew me and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, for that, like, it spoke volumes. And from there,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. So you had no idea. And he was like, "Hey, let me get my boy." Well, we're not even boys yet, but he's like, "Yeah, let me get Taj in here.
Yeah,
shoot it with you." Yeah, that's fire. That sounds like a great teammate. So hopefully you guys are paired up in Chicago.
I said last thing, but Taj, real quick, what did he say?
I don't know what he said, but
I said that'll be lit.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
It'd be crazy, man. Right, Taj, one last thing, but how has the NIL experience been, man? Because I think you came in 2019. That was before NIL. Like you kind of you've seen both sides. Like how cool do you like it? Do you think it's good for the future? Real quick thoughts on NIL.
I think it's great for the future.
Yeah.
Seeing both sides, like I've seen the struggles of, being a go play on TV and then come sleep on the couch of a dorm, in a one bedroom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for kids, to not only grow their brand, but just, a lot of people, profit off of them. So let them, make some positive happen, you know what I'm saying, and grow themselves. Not only, just go there to play ball, but just, grow as a person as well.
That's awesome. And this is my final question. Team's gonna draft you. When they draft you, who are they getting with Taj Washington?
They getting a playmaker who's gonna show up every day, and make the people around him better.
Hell yeah, love that.
And Taj, you're gonna hate me right now. There's one other question. This one's from Tito. It's a $10 super chat. It's for you. He goes, saw some USC games, Taj. A cold motherfucker, I guess I'll say it. You know, we can cuss on this one. Your route running is smooth. Praying the Bears pick you up to keep the connection going with Caleb. Tell us one thing about CW you noticed on game days or just as a teammate.
Yeah, I would say game day. It's different. Like through the week, chilling, like bubbly, like you know what I'm saying, like everyday type of conversation. On game day, just don't talk to him, bro. Just let him. You feel me?
Yeah.
Let him get in his mode, like you know what I'm saying. It's just different. Like game day is fun day, business day, and then once we get on the field, just fun from there.
Locked in. We love it.
Yeah.
Locked in with the number 1 pick to the Chicago Bears, and hopefully, Taj, you follow soon after that. So we do appreciate your time hopping on here.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Absolutely, Taj. Take care, man.
You too.
Peace. That was great.
All right. Yeah, no, I knew it, man. I've heard a lot of good things about Taj. Obviously, just reading up him before the interview, getting to see him speak. Obviously, during the interviews he's done, at college. But first of all, shout out to Taj Washington. Whoever gets him it's gonna be fun, man. Like he is electric. Even just with the new kick, I know he's a receiver, but like I want to see what he can do maybe on
kickoff
return.
too.
Yeah.
Hey, we need I don't know if you know, we need a new punt returner as well. Yeah, Trent Taylor just got signed, so.
But anyways, before we kind of unpack that interview, Ficky, I want to go ahead and say, again, thank you. But if you enjoyed that, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe on YouTube to the BFR Podcast, of course. And shout out to, man, I'm going to butcher his name here.
Taj?
Shame, I should have had this right. No, not Taj.
No,
I want to shout out to Jordan Rooney, who is a part of, I believe it's Jester Athletes. Really cool. He's building athlete brands. He's an NFL marketing rep. Obviously really cool follow. Yeah, Jordan Rooney kind of helped set this up. I want to give him some love. And of course, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe, like. We have a lot of stuff coming. Obviously, we're about 9 days away, right, Ficky? You've kind of been counting down on your Twitter with the Caleb Williams play every single morning in my inbox.
It's more for me just to be like, okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. So yeah, it's a good reminder.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But if you guys enjoyed that, good. Also, Taj Washington, like I said, wherever he ends up, I think it's gonna be fun for him. He's gonna be electric. He's gonna be obviously a great teammate. We knew that. Ficky, what do we want to unpack here first with Taj?
Well, first off, can we even get him? Because we only have 4 picks. He's projected fourth to fifth round ish, right? Like, do we? I want him. I would take him. You know what I mean? Like, we need another wide, like, especially if obviously if we draft a wide receiver at 9, the wide receiver room is probably full, right? There's not enough room with whoever's at 9, right? Velus, Tyler, Keenan, and DJ. But if we don't, which we'll talk about, because with Peter Schrager's mock draft, that didn't happen. We're probably going to, I don't mind getting more weapons, right? You talked about this. I've talked about this. You can never have too many weapons. So maybe a trade up. We do have a good amount of picks last year. You would maybe send like a next year 5th, maybe, you know what I mean? To move up to somewhere in the 4th round. Definitely a possibility, but man, he's just electric. I think you shared some like Caleb Williams actually retweeted someone who shared like his stats, like number 1 in like 20-yard passes, like a deep ball machine. And if you go look at Caleb Williams' highlight this year, you will see what Brandon Rice had some as well. He's a go wide receiver, but like a majority of his big plays are going to number 16. Like the dude can ball out. Shifty wide receiver in the slot. We need someone in the slot as well. So I'd be happy about that. But you know what's the best thing out of the whole combo was what he said when I said, hey, hopefully the Bears draft you. And he just smiled and said, it's lit. You know what I mean? Like, what a better, you talk about a hard transition going from Memphis, small town in Texas, to Memphis to LA, might as well USC, right? To do all that and then to go in the NFL. Let's make it a little bit easier for the guy and get him paired up with a quarterback he's already played with for 2 solid seasons. You know what I mean? Let's do Taj a favor, NFL or Chicago, Ryan Poles, because I know you watch the podcast. Let's go ahead and get Taj here in Chicago. So what about you?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring up that graphic. So yeah, Caleb Williams is back on April 11th. Taj went ahead and tweeted a graphic, and it's pretty cool. So He was number one. This is Taj Washington in 2023. He was number one. He was the number one wide receiver in 4 per play stats, meaning yards, yak, drop percentage, everything. He was number one in 4 per play stats. He had the second highest contested catch percentage among 2024 NFL draft wide receivers with 67%, which is kind of crazy because there's a lot of them. He is 5'9".
Yeah,
about
5'9",
5'10".
like 170. Like that's pretty impressive.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
He was the 3rd best gridiron grading wide receiver production. Score among 2024 draft class was an 82.35. He had the 5th most receiving yards on targets of 20+ yards with 596 total yards. And then he was the 5th best PFF, or he had the 5th best PFF receiving grade with 85.0 in 2023. And he was the 7th highest yards per route run with 3.06. Obviously, Caleb quote tweeted this. It's his guy. He said that guy, and obviously he's a great teammate. We heard that firsthand with Taj Washington. I liked there's a lot to unpack, like I said, but one of my favorite things. Actually, I want to table the Caleb talk. When I asked him about Jaylen Johnson, what a smart answer. I go, what are your thoughts on Jaylen? Obviously talking about Sauce and who you kind of want to match up, and obviously that was the college level, but. Very smart, because if he does come to Chicago, because it's a possibility. I know we have 4 picks, but we don't know. We might end up with having 6.
No idea.
They might use some ammo to move up, back into maybe the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I'm not sure exactly where Taj is going to go. I know Dan Bugler had him as his 27th ranked wide receiver in this class, but even Dan said this wide receiving class is deep. It kind of can fluctuate between 15 to 30 because team needs. Different type of receiver built. And Taj, is pretty electric, right? So let me see here. I thought he had his 40 time in here. Let me see here.
I should just say fast because
just fast overall. and he has the hands like you talked about, but I like that.
Hands, shifty. Yeah,
shifty.
He's great.
It would be great. And you talked about about the potential match he would be for Chicago, because he would have Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, which I think would be an awesome mentor. I love Keenan, but DJ and Yak go together like, peanut butter and jelly. You got Taj. His game's kind of similar to that. There's been plays where Caleb gets him the ball, middle of the field, and he just makes a guy miss, or he just takes it to the house with the speed, right? And he's elusive, like you said. So for me, to be able to come into Chicago, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, right? We don't know how this draft.
We have no idea,
especially in these later rounds, wherever Taj goes. But to have a guy like that already has a connection, a special one with Caleb. We talked about his stats, his 2023 season, over 1,000 receiving yards. He was a big part of Caleb's success in 2023. I know people give him, hell for kind of the USC season and everything, but he still had some crazy stats. Off the top of my mind, I don't know exactly what Caleb's stat line was, but it's still insanely productive, given everything he was working with. So for me, that Jaylen Johnson comment was hilarious, because it's he's a smart man. You don't know where you're going, but I feel like he does understand the quality that JJ is, just based on being a receiver and those matchup he gets at least at the college level. So now back to Caleb, because you talked about it. You said it ended up in Chicago, but I like the story he gave us, right, Ficky, when it came to something that we hear all the headlines, all the noise, the nails, going to his mother, after game, all of these crazy stuff that kind of gets blown out of proportion. And then you have this one right back in 2022, I think he said, right, in regards to a Beats commercial. And he's over here just texting Taj, who he kind of doesn't really know. They weren't, close friends like they are now. But just to be able to look out for your teammate like that, like NIL, money-wise, everything like that, he didn't have to. He could have been selfish, been like, hey, this is about me. And that's all we hear is how he's Hollywood and everything like that. But it's that right there debunks everything, because it's a cool story. And that's why I was that's why I asked Taj, because we hear everything at a very, high level, like the headline catching, the clickbait.
It's exaggerated. Yeah.
It's exaggerated, but then we get stuff like this that you don't see. And he talked about how he was very, very, cool demeanor, outside of game day, where he's just chilling. He's just,
I think what I like the most is how he is on game day. I am locked the fuck in. Do not And it's people understand that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not even a negative thing. Like, you don't think Brady's like that? You see how Brady acts? Like, Brady's like chill out. Well, I don't know. But like, you see Brady seems to be more chill and funny outside. But game day, bro, like, you see the worst of Brady. Like, he's yelling, screaming, locked in, like really trying to make things work. And I'm not saying that's how Caleb's going to be or that he's going to be Brady, but I do like that. Like, when the lights shine bright, like, I'm locked in, ready to rock and roll. And that's good to hear from the source, because you don't hear that from anyone, right? Everyone's talking about, oh, can Caleb handle the pressure of Chicago? As if the guy didn't play in one of the biggest cities in the U.S., at one of the most popular colleges, one of the most known colleges in that big city as well, right? Nationwide, USC. I mean, like, the names that were there, I mean, Superstarville over there in LA, and that's why they call it Hollywood. You think he couldn't handle Chicago? And the fact that he stayed locked in. So that means he could, if he can handle that pressure there, and he was able to do it with adversity, a season of winning and a season not so much, why could he not do it at the NFL level? You know what I mean?
No, exactly. I think we're both big fans of Taj. I think that, or I'm Caleb, but I think when it comes to like handling like a city, right? I think does get a little bit, what's the word? Excessive, or it's just a little, because for me,
overdone.
Caleb, overanalyze. I think it is true. I think Chicago is probably the toughest, especially at the quarterback position. It's brutal. But I mean, Justin handled it fine for the most part. You look at Mitch, could have been better. Was he soft? I don't know. But Jay, very unique. I don't think he handled it perfectly, but he did not give a fuck.
Definitely not. Yeah.
And I think you need that attitude that I don't give I don't care. I don't care. And, no pun intended with Jay, but I think Justin, he cared, but he never let anything get to him. Like, he knew who he was outside of football and on the field. He knew what he could do. He understand there was going to be ups and downs. And with Caleb, like you said, you talked about it, Ficky, and Taj, talked about how he is a different beast on game day. Like, he's just different. Like, you don't all business leading up, and then once he gets on the field, it's all fun, right? So it's like he has all these different like modes that he kind of gets into where he's locked in, and that's where you've heard about those Jordan comparisons, about those, which is kind of crazy to say, but even Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, where these guys are so different when it comes to game day and on the field. But we haven't had that. Like, I love Justin, but like he was much so like a rhythm guy. Like, you know how he would kind of get in 9, 10 completions. He would get a big run, another run,
for sure.
And then he starts dancing, and then you get that moxie, and then he's locked in, right? And he's tough. But then but at the same time, he could have a mistake, right? He could have a fumble, strip sack. He could have a dumb interception or something like that. So it's like, for me, we have not had a guy that can lock in and also kind of consistently play at a high level at the quarterback position. And I'm not saying Caleb, he has not played a snap yet, but everything we hear outside of even just from Tahj today, but everyone else and the stories we hear, and of course the tape that we see, it's exciting, man. Yeah, it's exciting.
How could it not be? How could it not be? You know what I mean? Like, we have not, the same way we were excited for Justin, right, as that being the best prospect to step through, which to this day still is, Caleb is now going to fill in that role. You know what I mean? This is now an even better prospect to come through. So super excited. Obviously, there's a lot of things that have to go right. I think that Poles has done a pretty good job of building a roster that is suited for a rookie quarterback to come in. You know what I mean? Like, if at least, let's put it this way, like for Fields, it had to take about 3 years because the roster was so bad for you to really get like a firm decision on like, okay, he not as much excuses now. We talked at the beginning of the season, like, oh, this is the no excuse season. But the seasons before, you couldn't say that because the team was garbage, right? Yeah. But this year, you cannot say the same. He's going to have some rookie hurdles. Don't get that twisted. Every rookie quarterback does. But you should probably get your answer a little bit quicker. Well, a lot quicker than what you did with the previous, 3-4 quarterbacks that have come through Chicago.
Did you just see me spill that water?
That's all right. You're just so excited. You're foaming through the mouth.
Okay, psych, right. Man. 9 days away. I'm over here shaking.
I don't blame you, bro.
Hey, real quick, as we kind of continue and unpack this interview, which was awesome, again, with Tahj. If you can go ahead. First of all, we are giving away, or Ficky is, giving away Jaylen Johnson jersey, not a 33, I'm not mistaken.
Number one, baby.
This is number one. Post Justin Fields era. Jalen's keeping the number for his good friend. No one else can rep it. But if you are wanting in on this Jaylen Johnson giveaway, if you're on YouTube live right now, go ahead and hit that like button. That will give you a double entry. If you haven't liked I think you had a tweet, right? I think your requirements. Like the tweet and then follow. It's pinned on Ficky's Twitter. So go do all those things on there, like it, but also like this YouTube video, sub to the channel, of course. And we are giving that away here in 20 minutes or so, maybe even less. But before we go, we are going to go ahead and announce the winner.
Yeah. I do want to mention this comment. This is funny. I don't know if you remember this from the Big F Rod podcast. Got the best takes. Appreciate that. I do love how everyone just for BFR they just pick new stuff each week. I think that's got to be
the thing here.
Yeah, that's funny.
For the people that didn't listen to the last pod, there was a question about what the BFR podcast stand for or what it reps, and people made up a bunch of names. Yeah. Obviously, I think your girlfriend or your wife said, what was it? Bears for real?
Bears fan room. So close.
Bears fan room. Yeah.
Two.
There was the other one. And then of course that one, big fucking
the Big
Rod
FM Rod. Yeah. The Big fucking Rod is.
That's hilarious.
No, it's hilarious. Yeah. I love it.
But of course it means Bears film room. That's what the original name came from. But we are excited. And again, that Jaylen Johnson jersey, if you can go ahead and like the YouTube video.
Still got time.
Subscribe. You still got time. We're excited. I think it's gonna look clean. A Jaylen Johnson and number one.
Ooh, a one. Man, listen.
I like these number twos. Hot take. Some people may not, but there's some numbers like whether Caleb wearing 0 would be sick, but like there's numbers that I like on some of these guys that are like I feel like that looks so good. It's different.
Come on, McCaskey, George. We can do 0. It's okay. It's okay.
But he wouldn't let Mooney.
Caleb 0, I'm not as excited for. But you know who I thought you mentioned this? I actually thought this would have been sick. DeAndre Swift 0 with the visor. I don't know why, but that one, for some reason, a running back with a 0.
Well, because you saw him in Philly, right? He was rocking the 0 on the Philly jerseys, which I like. So good. The Eagles jerseys are tough, even their throwbacks and stuff. So like beautiful. That alone, you throw in Swift repping 0, and I think he's a perfect. Yeah, I would have liked him. And he's not wearing 0. He's wearing what, 4?
4. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like 0 is off limits.
Yeah. So now you have 4. So Eddie Jackson, we got to get used to that. And then now you have Jaylen Johnson. Now it's Justin Fields. You have to get used to that. So it's going to be interesting with these numbers.
Real quick, Jaylen switching numbers. Kind of gave me post Eddie Jackson vibes where he switched from Bojack. What was it?
39.
39. And then he switched to 4. I'm not saying he had a drop off, but he really was never the same. And you can be suspicious or superstitious.
I think. Oh yes,
I'm a little nervous. Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
You could be before, right? I think he's the only only starter that's done a jersey switch since it's been allowed. So we only have one data point, and it didn't, necessarily work out the best way. But hopefully, what's going to happen now is we're going to see less jersey changes. Right, unless someone has the number, kind of like the Jaylen Johnson to Justin Fields situation, because these guys are just going to wear the same numbers they had in college. That's what it is. It's Jaylen Johnson was number 1 back at Utah, and then Bojack was 4 in Alabama. But when he came into the league, obviously that was 8 years ago. You couldn't be 4, so he had to choose a different number, 39, which is I guess close to 4-ish, kind of when you think about it. But yeah, I mean it's a jersey number. It's nothing different. As long as he balls out, we'll get used to it. But if if JJ has a major drop off, we will come back to this clip and we'll view this as now a curse of the jersey change. Mark our words. So,
yeah, I when it first came out that he was switching numbers, I saw a lot of comments. I even thought about it, so it came across. But you're right. And I think Jalen's a little bit different. He's literally going into his prime.
Come up his best year.
Yeah, I mean, knock on wood, he should be getting only better here.
Well, let's put it this way. His floor, even since he's been here, is still like good, right? So even if he has a drop off, he's still going to be a quality good starter. This is not, you're not going to a point where like, wow, JJ can't guard anyone now. You know what I mean? That's not the case.
That's why I still laugh with Taj when I asked him that. He said no comment.
I plead the fifth basically. Before we move on, here's a question for you, right? Because this has been the debate for a little bit, not a big one, but who is wearing 13? Obviously, Keenan Allen has worn 13 his whole career.
So I don't think it's been decided. I think there's going to be a conversation. It could be as early as draft night. Yeah. It could be as early as draft night where Keenan gives him about 10 minutes, spend time with his family, and then it's like, hey, what's up, man? Welcome to Chicago. Like, what is that? How much are you willing to give up for that 13? Like, I think there's going to be a conversation.
Absolutely.
I'm joking about being draft night, but I think there will be because I think Caleb may want to wear 13. But Keenan, who's played 12, 11, he's going into his 12th or 11th season in the NFL, and he's repped.
That's 13.
He's worn 13 every single year, and he's not just worn it. He's broken records. He's been insanely consistent. He's awesome. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
For me.
I think he's going to keep it.
But it is interesting because he doesn't have to buy any jerseys out because right? Typically, that's what happens. Like, if you're going to switch numbers, you have to buy out. There doesn't have to be because
a new team, maybe. It's a new team. Yeah, so you're good.
So that might play a role. It's like, okay, perfect opportunity to change numbers. I don't have to give up money, but I could get money from Caleb, right? I know he's on a rookie contract, but endorsements, deals, and everything.
He made a good amount of money through the NIL.
And I think I think it's going to be at least $1 million plus.
Oh, easily. I think.
Put a number. What are you thinking? For Keenan, be like, hey, Caleb, I'm gonna need this amount.
Not even a number. You know why? I don't think Keenan's gonna give it up.
Yeah, me either.
No. It's a vet. I don't think it's like he has a right to not give it up. This man has proved he is
12 available.
12 is. I think he wore 18 in high school.
Yeah. I still think
18.
I think 18, but I think he might go 12 because of Aaron Rodgers. That's a guy that he said that he watched, emulates, idolized. I think I would like 12. I really would. It'd be a little weird. You maybe see a little bit Aaron for a couple weeks, couple games.
I'd be cool 18 too. That's Peyton. Like, either way,
if he's playing, I don't like 18. I don't know why.
It's a little high. I'd rather go 12. I would too. It's weird.
Yeah.
This number. We're having a conversation about numbers.
Yeah. Anyways, in the chat, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and drop. And we'll go ahead and share some of the comments. What number do you want Caleb to wear? And then what number do you think he's going to wear for our live viewers on YouTube? So,
and then also, if you're new here, go ahead and drop a hashtag New Face Gang in the chat. We'll go ahead and share you before the end of the show.
Absolutely.
And if you're an OG here, it's your second time watching, it's your 50th time watching. We appreciate it. Go ahead and give a hashtag OG in the chat as well. And we will share that all before the end of the show. So appreciate it.
Absolutely. And then next week, to kind of give out some schedule. The draft is Thursday next week, and then of course day 2 is Friday. We are going to be going live both nights. So we're going to be going live around 6:30, 7 o'clock on draft night, day 1, and then about the same time on day number 2. We'll be live on YouTube at least for a couple hours on day 1, if I'm not mistaken, right, Ficky? Ficky's going to be there in Detroit. He's going to be announcing the number 1 pick.
I wish. I wish.
No, but he's going to be on the ground. He's going to be giving us all the details there. So he's going to pop in through hopefully the whole stream, barring connection and everything. So we're going to have a really good show there. And then day 2, same thing. Ficky, are you going to be there day 2?
Yeah, I'll be there day 2, not day 3. I'll be heading back on day 3, but I'll be there Thursday and Friday. Yeah, so it'll be good.
Schedule wise, day 1, day 2, we are going to live that evening on YouTube, BFR Podcast. And then, of course, we're going to recap the draft probably that Monday.
Yeah.
Just with everything, all the noise, maybe talk about, Caleb Williams. I'm sure he'll have his presser maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. I'm not sure. We'll see how that lines out. But again, we have a lot of fire content coming out here. A lot of good interviews still down the line. And, of course, we have a couple surprises as well that I can't reveal quite yet. But it is in this photo, surprisingly.
It is.
It is. You had to think for a second. But
I did. I was like, what?
Yeah. No, it is in there if you can think about it. But again, we have a Jaylen Johnson jersey coming out. This is a long conversation about his number change and everything. But in light of all that, we are giving one away. Ficky was nice enough to kind of do this raffle. So go ahead and check out his Twitter. It's Ficky Baby on all socials, of course. And if you are here in the live stream, you can participate as well. Just hit that like button. That's all you got to do. We are almost at 4,000 subscribers on the podcast. So if you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button, tell a friend, of course, that helps. grow the community that we're obviously building here. So we're excited. A lot of good change, a lot of fun things coming up. And then, of course, our Apple, Spotify listeners, you guys are killing it as well, leaving lots of reviews. Go ahead and continue to do that. If you want to check out the YouTube, highly suggest you do. A lot of cool things. You get to see a lot of different things. You get to see our faces. Obviously, get to see, Kyle Long, all these other guys that come on the pod. It's a really fun time. So enough of that. Ficky, anything else you want to get to regarding the Taj interview before we kind of move on to a couple topics here?
No, I'm good. I'm kind of want to go back to that Peter Schrager.
Yeah, we'll finish it up. It's you talked about Peter Schrager, and he has the Bears trading out of 9 with Malik Neighbors.
Still on the board.
LSU still on the board. It had the who traded up for it?
Colts.
The Colts, and they drafted Malik Neighbors.
Correct.
So you kind of did you give some of your feedback early on the show?
Yeah. So it's two things that are interesting here, right? First thing is that Malik Neighbors that we viewed as wide receiver 2. I think most people consensus, right? And even some say wide receiver 1, which is kind of crazy, but he falls all the way to 9. Obviously, Marvin goes before him, and Rome Odunze goes before him. I think Rome went to the Giants at 6. I think. I could be wrong, but he went before. So you have Malik sitting there at 9. The Bears have a great opportunity to go ahead and take that wide receiver, but they do not. Instead, they trade back with the Colts. The Colts pick up Malik Neighbors, and I think I can't remember where the Colts are drafting. It's somewhere between like 14 and 17 or something like that. Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head, but we end up taking J.C. Latham, the tackle out of Alabama. I'm pretty sure it's Alabama. So interesting. I mean, this is a stacked tackle draft, right? So if it's the best player available, I'm not necessarily mad about that. But if you look at the need perspective, right, or at least you sprinkle that in, we do have Braxton Jones, right? Could J.C. Latham be a better prospect than Braxton? Absolutely. But is it more of a need than wide receiver? Maybe not, because that'd be wide receiver 3. So I definitely understand that. And again, Peter approached this mock draft of like what he's hearing, not what he's going to do, what he thinks the GMs are going to do. It's based off like what people are telling him is most likely going to happen, right? And he still has another mock that comes out, so it could change at that point. But it was just interesting. Is this the first draft?
I want to know who the hell is telling him to pass on Malik Neighbors.
That's crazy. And I think all we got in return for the trade back was a third?
Second.
Oh,
I thought it was the second.
No, you might be right. So second isn't bad to go back. That would give us, but then you think about it. Now does that give us 3 seconds next year?
It's a lot.
Because we already have 2. So we have 3 seconds next year, which is crazy. You can move up to the 1 with that ammo easily with 2 of those seconds. But
seen a lot of scenarios, a lot of mock drafts. And I know this one's supposed to hold some weight. I think there's a comment on YouTube from David. Good name, obviously, but I hope this one is wrong. I hope this is like a worst case scenario for me. Like it would be way worse than like, how last year we all wanted the Bears to, if he was there at 9, why is it Carter? Jaylen Carter?
Yeah.
We all wanted Jaylen Carter because there was rumors, there was smoke that he would slip to the Bears. And if he got there, the Bears weren't going to pass up. Obviously, there was character concerns, but there was a lot of noise surrounding that pick. And if he was obviously available, Bears passed. I was a little upset. Love Darnell Wright. Obviously, looking back at it, I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Great move. However, and then I think that other move, I think that draft pick ended up being Keenan Allen or something like that.
Yes.
So anyways.
Yep.
This one would hurt a lot more. If you passed up, obviously Roman Odunze would be a tough pill to swallow, but then there's Malik Neighbors, who a lot of people 1A to 1B. He's probably 1B to Marvin Harrison Jr. in this wide receiver class. That's how talented he is. You saw his pro day at or LSU. Electric, dude. I don't know what his 40 time was. Was it 4.2? Rumor?
Yeah, he's fast.
It's just crazy.
It's pretty high. Yeah.
But for me, Peter, if you're doing the Bears due diligence here and just a service, like, obviously, hey, we're not interested in Malik, blah, 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 something like that. Just hoping that he falls to 9 so the Bears actually pick him. Great. However, this would be like DEFCON 5, passing on a guy like Malik Neighbors, where you have Caleb Williams coming in. And then it's the trade back to 15, I don't think that's enough. And maybe I'm not looking at the value as in regards to the draft.
I'm okay with the value. I think my thing would be
I think it's Malik Neighbors that plays a role here, though. Like you're passing
fair.
Malik Neighbors.
And then also, I think, though, who you also pick. So if you trade back and you take like Jared Verse, right? Again, whatever's best on the board, I trust, right? If that's Pole's best player, like I'm trusting whoever Pole's picks because he's shown he can pick the right people. But from a need perspective, which shouldn't be your driver, let's just start there. It should be best player available. From a need perspective, Jared Verse, is Dallas Turner still there? You know what I mean? And maybe you go, do you go Johnny Newton, the defensive tackle? Do you go Brian Murphy, the defensive tackle? You know what I mean? That's my only concern. Again, Braxton Jones, solid, has done a pretty good job, 5th round pick. A lot of these first round tackles could be better than him. That's not I guess like a crazy take. So if that's what you think you need to do, then do it. Because you know what we've never done in Chicago? Protected our quarterback. You know what Fields had to deal with his whole life in Chicago? Running for his goddamn
Sam
life.
Mustipher.
Like, okay, I've talked about building the trenches. I have. But this wide receiver class, at least how it's being sold to us, and that's all I can take is the information because I'm not boots on the ground. I'm not an NFL scout, is that those top 3 wide receivers, like if you look at the top 50 board for most people, consistently, those 3 wide receivers are in your top 7 easily. Right? The only lineman that's in there is Joe Alt. All the rest have Rome, Malik, and MHJ. So if one of those is there, come on, you got to pull the trigger. You got to. But
and there's
I trust Peter. So
and there's other mocks that you have the Bears even trading up to like 5 or something like with like the Chargers to snag Marvin Harrison Jr., who I guess falls in some mocks. Like there's just a lot. There was a comment on YouTube here just a minute ago says I'm ready for this to be over, and I know we're talking about it, but I feel the exact same way because I just want to know what happens, man. I want to know. Obviously, we know what happens at 1. Drake May coming to Chicago, and then Caleb Williams, Chicago.
Yes.
But for me, it's like, what happens? What are the Bears going to do? Because I hear about like what capital, right? How could the Bears trade up? And I feel like that's like a shallow response because like look at the ammo they have next year. And I know you don't want to give it away because like one thing I think fans like to do is hold on to, draft capital. It's a huge thing, right?
Yeah, you just want as many picks as possible.
Right? Right now we have 4 and it's like it's just not enough. It looks, barren. It just doesn't feel great sometimes. But the value we talked about a couple pods ago, Ficky, the Bears have 4 picks, but they have the 4th most value because of where those picks are at with 1 and 9.
Yeah. 2 of them are top 10.
But you look at next year. I mean, they got some 2 seconds. Obviously, the first they have like 9 or 8
couple
picks.
6. Yeah, they have 8, possibly 9.
They have all their picks plus a couple more. And for me, it's like if they feel like there's a guy they can go and get,
go get him.
That would be an impact for Caleb, whether it be a receiver or even I like Joe Alt. I really do. I like him.
Yeah, I'm gonna take him.
All I'm saying is there's a possibility where it's like I'm not saying they drastically move up, but go from 9 to 5 is possible. It's possible.
Oh, easily.
And some people might not like it, but for me, if that means they go and get their guy, awesome. But for me, best case scenario, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, they do fall to that number 9 pick. And then I wouldn't be mad at Edge. I understand it's a huge need. I even like,
I think that's more of a trade back.
Byron Murphy.
Yeah, from Texas. But I think that's more of a trade back.
Byron? It's Byron, right?
Byron, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Byron, okay. I like Byron Murphy. Wouldn't be a sexy pick, right? But it would be one that Flus would think is sexy, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he'd be salivating at the mouth.
Yeah.
Number 9. He might run the card up to Goodell and make the pick.
He may try. They may have to tackle him. Like, no, Flus. We're not going. We're going offense. But like I said, last few years, you see the cornerback room and what it's become because of using, draft picks on the defense. I think it's just time. Double dip. Go the Houston Texans route, but go offensively, right? I know you can go and get maybe the best offensive player. Obviously, the best offensive player in this draft is Caleb Williams. The best prospect probably is Caleb Williams. Then you have the possibility, Ficky, I think you said it last week, if I'm not mistaken, to get the best defensive player off the board as well.
Easily.
Which is crazy to think, and it would be really impactful. But for me, you know where I'm standing. Offense. That's what I want to see.
Look, I'm okay with that. And again, it all depends on what happens from 2 to 8. That we have no idea. That's been such a shakeup. It's literally only Caleb. I'd say the only certified, most people are consistent on, are 2 picks, right? One of them, Caleb Williams in Chicago. I think that's pretty obvious. Mm-hmm. And the second one is Joe Alt to the Titans. And there's one right past us. I think everybody is saying the Jets are going to go all in because they have a 39-year-old quarterback who just came off of Achilles, and they're probably going to go Brock Bowers. That's like what I've seen consistently. But other than that, it has been a shit show of like what is possibly going to happen.
That's what's so fun about this draft, man. That's why I'm a little jealous you're going to be there live, but getting to see this thing play out. Obviously, you're going to be on the live stream. I'm going to be there, getting to interact with everyone that obviously is a part of the community. And just, it's going to be an exciting night for Chicago. Like, no matter what happens, man. I think you saw you tweeted a comment on somebody said, like, well, no matter what happens, the Bears are going to win. Like,
they're in a favorable position no matter what at number 9. And that's why they're so ranked high when it comes to the value of their picks is because think about it. 2 top 10 picks. The last time the Bears had 2 top 10 picks, do you know who they selected?
No. Tell me. For some reason.
Dick Butkus and Gale Sayre. That worked out pretty well.
So long ago.
It is. Because it's hard to do.
Crazy. It's hard to do.
How about this? The Jets, the last time they had 2 top 10 picks, right? Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. That turned out pretty well, right? Like your hit rate. Like we talk about like
were they offensive defensive player of the year or rookie of the year?
You know what? They might have been kind of like Houston did last year because that's how Houston was.
That's crazy if that is the case.
So think about it though. So people love to stack picks, right? From a fan perspective and even from a GM perspective, because it is a game of like a lottery. It's a scratch off, right? But your chances of hitting that jackpot are a lot higher within that top 10, right? Like you finding a Hall of Famer, like you can miss in the top 10 easily. You can miss in the 4th round, but the likelihood of you finding a Hall of Famer in the top 10 versus you finding a Hall of Famer in the 4th round is drastically different, right? Like a huge percentage difference. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but it's most likely not going to. So that's why I'm like comfortable with kind of whatever happens here. And again, polls, yes, from a fan perspective, I might be upset if he takes a tackle or something like that. But he has shown from day one with his early picks that he knows how to pick. And he's even hit on some late ones. He's had some misses. Of course, every GM does, but he's done a pretty good job that it wouldn't make sense for me to not trust him. It's not like it's the Ryan Pace era where I'm like, well, we probably don't have a first pick. And if we do, you're not hitting on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it should be fun. We'll see what happens, though. How about this? If you're a betting man, doesn't matter. You can't think about what happens, where people go, blah, 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 blah. Are we trading up? Are we staying put? Are we trading back? What is most likely to happen? Rank those.
Staying put.
Number 1?
Yeah.
And then what? Would you say trade up more than trade back?
No. I would say more leaning towards, if I was betting, it would probably go stay put at number 1, just because I think the impact player you can get, you don't have to worry about him being there. If there's going to be a guy on the Bears board where it's like, yeah, we want this guy. Let's not mess around. Let's get him 1 and 2. What a draft already. And then Poles even said it, his public comments, and this could be a smokescreen. I could be wrong, but he said this draft isn't that deep. Yeah, right there on YouTube, a plastic rock that goes quality over quantity. And that's the thing with this draft. There's a lot more quality players this year around because of the COVID, because of NIL. I think this is the last COVID year we're eligible. So it's like the draft is going to change drastically next year. There's going to be a lot more people coming out. And so for me, quality over quantity, I think it's a perfect way to put it. And I would say that, again, stay put at 9, most likely scenario. If I was betting, 2 would be to trade back a little bit. I don't think they go to 15, in my opinion. I feel like it's too far. Maybe it'd be similar to like a last year with Philly, maybe 9 to 10, 9 to 11, 9 to 12. I just don't think they go too far back out. And then trading up, the only way I see that is if Marvin Harrison Jr. slips.
What's the highest you going?
5.
Okay.
I'm not going
Chargers.
4. I'm not going. I don't think Arizona. I heard Arizona's wanting to possibly trade out. I even heard New England as well for some odd reason.
Who knows?
I don't think so.
They need a court.
But for me, I just don't want to go up to 4. I think that would be expensive. I think 5 is where Marvin Harrison, because you're going to know.
You're going to have to go in front of 6, which is the Giants. Because if they're not taking a quarterback, they're 100% taking a wide receiver.
Yeah, exactly. So I think 5 would be that would be a spot for me where I'm like, I would burn a second. could you get up there with Carolina's second? Like, is that too much to get up from 9 to 5? Is that, you're giving up too much? I don't know. I just don't know exactly what it's going to take to go from there, because I think you have to factor in who's available, right? Because hey, you want Marvin Harrison Jr.? There's a little premium. There's some tax there, right? For us to move out of this week. We like him. We love him. And if you want him,
that's fair.
You're going to have to really pay.
We do have a question here because I know how you feel about Brock Bowers. So I want to throw this in here. Steven Nordoff on YouTube said, take the third best wide receiver, which I think by most draft boards would be Odunze.
Yeah.
Or you take the best tight end, Brock Bowers. What would you rather do? Rome?
Just because I love the tight end room in Chicago.
How about this, though? You're offered to trade back from 9. Rome's at 9. Let's say Minnesota wants to jump up, okay? I'm just saying that because let's move back like 2 spots.
Yeah.
Right? Or let's just do this. The Jets are right behind us. They've kind of been wanting Brock, or they can take another wide receiver as well.
Yeah.
One trade back, you get a third, right? Most likely for that one move. It's probably not going to be a second unless they have multiple, which I don't think they do. You're getting a third in return, and you take Brock Bowers at 10. Would you do that over taking Rome at 9?
No.
Okay. Me either. I think I'm taking Rome. No. Give me Rome, man.
We just if tight end was such a need, maybe I would be like, absolutely. But it's like you have 2 really good tight ends. Maybe not Travis Kelce, maybe not top tier, but Cole Kmet flirts with top 5.
Easily.
Week in, week out, in my opinion. So
yeah.
Then you have Gerald Everett, who's a great complementary tight end. Maybe top 10 some weeks. There's a lot of ammo there in that room, and you can maybe go in and find someone else, a younger guy that may not be Brock Bowers, but that's a good tight end room where you can maybe groom a really good young tight end, and maybe in a couple of years he'll be ready to kind of take the mantle or something, because Cole's pretty young too. So anyways,
he's pretty young.
I would go Rome. I would stick at wide receiver
okay,
and go from there. So
all right, well, here's another question then. So we obviously know you view Rome high. I do as well, right? But Caleb here on Twitter says, what is the best pick at 9? Realistically, I don't think Malik's going to be there. So what it could be. It could be.
I was going to say Marvin Harrison Jr. at 9 would be crazy.
That would be wild. But out of your options,
best pick at 9, Rome Odunze.
Okay.
I like Dallas Turner. I've been high on him. I understand maybe not the scheme fit that what's his name is Verse.
Verse, yep.
But the talent, I just feel like he
has a higher ceiling.
He's just different, man. Like I really think sure he doesn't sure he doesn't fit perfectly scheme wise, but it's like I feel like he's just gonna be a game wrecker, and you throw Montez Sweat in there. I like him. So we go Rome, Dallas. I like Byron Murphy. I do. He'd probably be 3. And then Brock Bowers. I like Jared Verse too. Maybe switch Bowers and Verse maybe just because of value and or not value. I guess like value.
Positional need.
Positional need, and you don't need a tight end. So that's a really good question, Caleb. So I feel like for me again, probably go offense. At the top right there. But that's just my bias right now because I feel like when it comes to this rookie quarterback, I just want Caleb to succeed. And I'm like. And I understand the trenches. We didn't even talk about that. Like on the offensive side, like I'm fine with what they have right now at the offensive line. Obviously, health is a huge factor there.
Yeah, health.
But I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool with it. Like
if Nate Davis plays like how I think expect that he will play, right?
Yeah.
Obviously not having to deal with such a major grieving period of his time.
I don't think
and then Tevin Jenkins also does like. He's been when he's healthy. I know that's a big caveat, but when he's healthy, one of the top guards in the league. So now you have both your guards playing at above good to great, and then Darnell Wright taking another big step. Braxton Jones possibly taking another good step. I mean, you got a decent maybe top 17 line that like serviceable for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. So Nate Davis, I think a lot of people don't understand what he was dealing with early on. When, during camp, during like OTAs and everything, like, losing his mom,
yeah,
his someone that's so close to you, right? I understand he gets paid. It's a job. I get it. On top of that, did he have a great year? No, but he was very good, or he was good most weeks. There was times you could take watching the film. There was times where like, what the fuck was Nate Davis doing? What is the line doing, right?
There's
What
plenty
is
of
our
those.
center doing? What is Cody
There was
White?
plenty
So
of
for
those.
me, I think there has to be a multiplier here, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to the moves they made this offseason, right? They brought in a new center. What's his name? Why do I always forget his name?
Sheldon and
No, the other guy.
Bates.
The one that they wanted a couple years ago, right?
Yeah,
Ryan
from
Bates.
the Rams. Mm-hmm.
From the Rams. I like that. That's a solid move. It's not Sam Mustipher, man. Like, it's an upgrade.
It is not.
It's better than Lucas Patrick as well, in my opinion.
Facts.
So you got a little bit slightly better there. And I think Tevin Jenkins, if everyone remains healthy, it's going to be those two guys, Tevin Jenkins, Darnell Wright, are going to be able to multiply this line, be able to really make an impact if they can stay on the field. And then Nate Davis, I think he's going to have a better year. He's more focused. Of course, I could look back at this and you could pull the receipts and I look ridiculous.
Well,
but
don't
for
know,
me,
but.
I would be totally fine. It wouldn't be splashy similar to Darnell Wright if they went with another tackle or even somehow got, I heard, what's his name? JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson. I've heard him slipping all the way to the second round. And for me, I would almost be intrigued.
Trade back.
Do you
maybe?
use it? Well, not even a trade back. Say you stick at 9. And maybe it is a little much to trade up for a center. But that would be nuts to be able to use maybe some ammo from 2025 to get back into the second round and snag a JPJ who's been falls, because I've heard there's been talking about him not being a first rounder anymore. And that would be insane good value, especially if he can be your center for 10 years with Caleb.
Yep.
So
time to
I might be talking about my ass. Like I said, we need the draft to get here because I'm getting crazy.
I mean, that's what it is, though. Even with these GMs, it's all projection. So we're just guessing based off information that we have. You know what I mean? They have way more, obviously. They've been looking at these players for, some of them years and obviously months and months. So, but it's all projection. That's why if it was that easy, all these GMs would get it right. Right. Or they would get it right a lot more than what they do. I don't know this number off the top of my head, but I bet you the GM average is probably like a baseball statistic. I bet they bat like 30%, maybe a little bit higher, 40.
Yeah.
You think they're over 500? I don't think so.
No, man, it's a tough
especially
game.
Not in the earlier rounds because there's so much expectation and a lot of those guys flop. You see so many flops in the first round, or bust is what we like to call them. Here's one last question we have here from David on YouTube. Said, what do you guys think it would take to get the Cards to move back from 9? Both of our 2025 seconds? Yeah, probably. At least one of them.
At 4? Oh, man.
Yeah, probably.
The top 10 picks, like the top prospects in this draft are so stacked, in my opinion. Like, they have such value and they're held in such a high regard at their positions. Like Marvin Harrison Jr., and maybe just like draft fatigue, but if you remember, like he really is generational. Like that tag, is fair because he's insane. He's a freak athlete. He's a freak build. Like that right there would be expensive. So I think two seconds would be what did Houston? I don't even remember where they came from. I just feel like yes, it is gonna be. You're gonna pay a tax. You're gonna pay a premium to get into to go from 9 to 4 would be expensive. And I don't know if I would want to do that. I'd be excited.
Of course.
I'll be fucking hyped.
Yeah, of course.
Fuck a draft pick on draft night. If it's 2025 we're thinking about, like I would be a little bit more upset probably, a couple days after or maybe next year. I don't even know when it would sink in. But if Marvin Harrison Jr. is putting up 1,300 yard seasons, back to back, and you got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, and then of course Caleb's gonna look great with that move as well. But anyway, so
that'd be ecstatic.
There was another one. It said, did we answer this? It was from Spazzy. It was thoughts on Braxton Jones.
I mean, look, I think he's an above average tackle. He's still young, right? This will be his 3rd season. He has some penalty issues. We saw that a lot, but he's gotten better each year for a 5th round draft pick. And I know, people don't like the guy I'm going to refer him to, but Charles Leno was a 7th rounder, serviceable tackle for 8+ years. For multiple teams, not just us, which he did for a long time, but also for the Commanders. Well, I think it's maybe the Redskins at the time when he first went there, but the Commanders now. So the man, if you tell me that he has a career like that as a 5th rounder, I would not be mad. Does it mean you can't upgrade? Of course you could. Charles Leno's not a top 10 tackle in the league. But is Charles Leno a bad tackle, or was he? Because I think he might be out now. But is he a bad tackle? No. So if you tell me that Braxton Jones ends up being a good tackle for a long time, I am so on board with that, because the best ability in this league is availability. And if you have someone who's stout enough to be there game in and game out for a good amount of seasons, how can you be mad about that? We talk about the guy right next to him who is definitely more talented, right? Tevin Jenkins. But the biggest issue with him is he's injured all the time. When he's in, dog, best player on our line, no question, one of the top guards in the league. But he's injured all the time, which is unfortunate for him, right? But if you tell me we get someone who's good, who's played all those snaps, doesn't really have too crazy of an injury history. I know he was out for some time with, I think there was a concussion last year or something along those lines. But look, I would not be mad about it. I think we're in a position with it where if we upgrade, okay. If we stay, okay. You know, you can never take too much depth on the offensive line because they get beat up every play.
Yeah. So Spazzy, first of all, appreciate the question. I agree with everything you said, Ficky. I mean, Braxton Jones, looking at PFF right now, just the snaps he had at left tackle, he had 715 snaps last year.
It's a lot.
It's a good amount, man. On top of that, he gave up 2 sacks, 2 hits, 28 hurries. He gave up a total of 32 pressures. He had 9 penalties. That's something that needs to come down, of course. But in my opinion, like that's serviceable. If not, like you said, maybe a little bit more, maybe above average. And then on top of that, if I'm not mistaken, Braxton Jones is 25 years old on a rookie contract.
Yeah, a cheap one,
We're going to find out. And he's round 5, right?
Yeah.
Right? Round 4? Round 5? Round 5. What a steal. The value right there is awesome. We're going to find out, obviously, how the Bears really feel about Braxton Jones here in about 8 days. But for me, I would be shocked. I would really be shocked because I just don't see it as a need if they go tackle.
Yeah, and I know I say this. I want you to take the best player available. So if J.C. Latham is high on your board, take him. I get it. But I don't have that information, right? You don't have that information. Only polls in his tight-knit group have that information. But based off the info we have, we look and say, hey, the guy we got, cheap, young, and good enough, or good. You know what I mean? So from a need perspective, you're right. Yeah. Let's go get something, that maybe can have a bigger impact right away. But again, I'm going to trust what Poles does no matter what. I just hope I'm not too shocked in a bad way. Let's put it that way. Selfishly, as a fan, I hope I'm not too shocked in a bad way. But, that's the draft. I think that's what's so exciting about it. You just have no idea. Like, I set up a mock draft competition with a couple of people, and it's just like, this is going to be a shit show because, like, how do you know, man? Like, it's just crazy. It's almost, not to get into too much of a side rant here, but it's crazy how these teams have so much information, and still can't get it right. Look at the quarterback position the most, which is the most important position. So it's ironic in that, and how hard it is for them to even get that right. Like, you literally have, you have the GOAT, Tom Brady, 6th round, right? How do you predict that, right? Then you have Mahomes, QB3 in that draft, right? A little reminder for us Bears fans when we took Mitch Trubisky trading up to number 2. Thank you, Ryan Pace. Right? How do you not get that right? Those are your 2 best, and you don't. And then you have some hits where it's pretty clear cut, right? Where it seems like it. Andrew Luck, I think, had a pretty good year on a pretty good career on a pretty shitty team. And then you have someone like Peyton Manning, consensus number 1 overall. I mean, we know how his career went. Had a great career, one of the top 5 quarterbacks. And then you have those who are in between, right? You got like a Trevor Lawrence, where it's like, viewed as generational. He's not bad, but has he lived up to that greatness? I don't know. And it's just so interesting that they can't get it right, but I know there's so many variables that go into it. So much. So I'm hoping that the Bears with Caleb Williams, first off, we have a little bit of luck on our side. And secondly, some of those variables are removed because of the situation he comes into is, at least I'd say healthier when you talk about like toxicity. Like the GM and the head coach are on accord with each other. They like each other. The roster seems to be pretty good, right? On paper, obviously things can happen, but it just seems like, okay, you know what? You're not coming into Jacksonville with Urban Meyer. You're not coming into John Fox in 2017 with that shitty organization. Well, our organization, but the people that were in the building at that time, where the GM didn't even tell the head coach who he was picking on draft night. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not happening within this within the confines of Hallis Hall. So hopefully they get it right this time, and then we can like shut up about the quarterback position. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. No, well said. I don't want to rehash. The Bears have just been such a fucking shit show for so many years.
Bro,
sometimes. I feel like it's just every year, but absolutely. Well, hey, we've been going over here hour and 20. Before we go ahead and announce that Jaylen Johnson video, one last chance to enter. Go ahead and like this YouTube video right now. Go ahead and, like I said, subscribe if you can. If you enjoyed the content, if you enjoyed, talking with Taj and that interview, that conversation, go ahead. We have a lot more coming, of course. A lot of good stuff. We'll have Kyle Brandt on soon as well. He'll be joining the show once again. A lot of stuff we're cooking up. So first of all the support has been insane. If you want to go ahead and check out the pod on all socials at BFR_pod, we're over 10,000 followers on Twitter. Instagram is flying up as well as far as numbers and content. You guys are loving it. So the support has been insane. Obviously, if you guys, I don't know how many TikTok users we have on our podcast community, but go ahead and show some love over there. BFR_pod on all socials. And of course, Ficky, you can check him out. His Chicago Bears content on It's Ficky Baby on all socials as well. And of course, this show is presented by Sports Mockery. We do have another sponsor coming. Again, it is in this video. I'm not going to tell you where, but they are partnering with us and they are supporting the show, and it's really exciting. We'll hopefully have that ready to go by the draft, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of stuff coming. We appreciate the growth. We wouldn't be here without you guys showing support. So again, almost there. You can check out again all my work at sportsmockery.com. I cover the Bears NFL for them. We'll have a lot of articles coming out here in the next couple weeks. And then, Ficky, am I missing anything? We want to go ahead and do the shout outs as well.
Yeah, I'm going to do the shout outs. We have a good amount that came in. So appreciate all of y'all leaving your comments here. So we have Daniel Hawkins on YouTube with the hashtag OG. Appreciate that, Danielle. Oh, yeah. Our boy Tito, thank you for the super chat earlier. And the hashtag OG, appreciate that. TJ Stegar, hopefully I said that right, or Steger, hashtag OG on YouTube, appreciate that. Spazzy, who's been all up in the comments today, appreciate that, hashtag OG. We got Ryan Bradley on YouTube, hashtag OG, and then Jerome Muniz, who's definitely on here all the time, hashtag OG. We want to thank you guys so much. Like, I don't think you understand, like, we appreciate the conversations you guys have in the chat. We're really trying to build a community in here, so we appreciate all the love, whether it's your first time, your last time, you're not your last time. Like, we're just glad that everyone's in here. Oh, and one more here. Got Steven Nordloff, actually. Sorry, I missed that. OG on YouTube. Another one in here, Justin Kuster on YouTube, hashtag OG. Plastic Rockets, hashtag OG. You guys are coming in. We appreciate it. And then Elijah Gladney on YouTube with the hashtag OG. A bunch of OGs in here. Appreciate the love and the support. We got some great coming up.
That's when you know it's a good show, man.
Absolutely. And like I said, we got some stuff coming up here which is going to be very valuable to you guys. And one more. I mean, they just flying in here. Richard McDonald with a hashtag OG as well. Absolutely. Dave, do you have anything before I announce the winner of the
Yeah.
Wait a second. We got Pam with a hashtag OG. She's in here all the time, so appreciate that.
No,
and one more.
Jesus.
Doug, I know, they just coming in. Doug Gross, hashtag OG. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think so.
No, first of all, we appreciate the love. And like I said, there's been so many people that have been with us since the very beginning of the podcast. I think this is episode 67 now. So
crazy.
We're just hitting our stride. We're finally getting the hang of things here. So I've said it before. Appreciate the support, the community that we're growing. Check out all socials again, BFR_pod. I do have my only mock draft coming out, I think tomorrow, depending on when it's going to be published. It is my only mock draft. I will say that I have reached out to a couple people that are obviously high in the draft community on some of these things. I'm not an insider or anything like that, but I am giving you guys one mock draft, and that's it. Just because, like I said, I feel like I'm tired of it, but I have one. I think it's going to be fun. Hope you guys check it out again, sportsmockery.com. Subscribe to the show. And I think that's it, Ficky, man. So if you want to go ahead and announce the winner here.
Absolutely.
But before you do, like the video.
Like it, subscribe.
Like the video.
Appreciate all that. We do have one more question here, but it's, any more pods before the draft? No, because we will have 2 next week. We'll be live during the draft, day 1 and day 2. So
never say never.
Nothing private. No, if there's something crazy that happens,
yes.
But I don't know. I've had enough craziness this offseason, so let's chill. Let's just get to the draft.
And I will say I am working on maybe trying to get one more prospect on the show. So if we can get one more before the draft,
we'll do it.
Out. These guys are super, super busy. But again, shout out to Taj Washington for hopping on. And so probably not. Good question. But we'll see kind of what everything kind of looks like. And again, I want to give one more shout out to my guy, Jordan Rooney, who helped kind of set this thing up with Taj. Jaster Athletes on Twitter. And then, of course, you can follow Jordan Rooney, Jordan R on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it. Really cool guy. He's doing a lot of cool things, building athletes, building brands. Appreciate him.
Love it.
So
absolutely. Give these athletes their money. We appreciate that. All right. So there's a bunch of submissions. Went ahead and randomly selected one. I will say this person who did this got more entries because they did follow not only me, but Dave, our producer, Jack, and our creative Ryan, our graphic designer. So they did get some more entries, which helped them out here. And the winner is at Pop Smoke with zeros for the O's. So at P0P_SM0KE on Twitter. Also says Cubs fan as his name there. So congratulations on the Jaylen Johnson #1 jersey. I will hit your DMs, and that will be coming your way as well. And the winner of the DeAndre Swift one a while back, that one is also coming. Those will be coming here at the same time. So this will be great. I do see a funny comment here. Ryan said, you need to start making people quote favorite Ficky music lyrics instead of dropping OG. Now that's funny. I might have to do that. That might get some bonus points, but I appreciate that, Ryan. But yeah, congrats to Pop. Thanks to everyone that participated in the giveaway. I will say there's going to be a lot of giveaways. Like we're excited to give stuff out to y'all. It's going to be great.
Well, if you guys want to get a head start, I guess we'll announce it real quick. We are doing a Caleb Williams draft day. Once he's drafted, we all know what's happening. We are giving away a jersey, Caleb Williams, fresh off. It's real. It's authentic. I'm not sure if it's going to be signed. We'll see what we can do there. But we are going to give away his jersey on draft day to a person who is subscribed to our YouTube channel. Of course, you can enter, I believe, same way with following Ficky, myself, the pod, and everything like that, Ryan and Jack, our producer. But we are giving away that one on top of about 4 or 5 other announcements that are going to be pretty big. That are going to, like I said, we wouldn't be here without you guys. We're excited about the news that's coming, and we appreciate the support. So, absolutely appreciate all the love. A lot of good stuff coming. I'm just really excited. You know what I mean? Oh, man. Well, Ficky, hey, we're going to get out of here, guys. We appreciate you. We'll be back again, barring any crazy news or maybe getting another prospect on before the draft deadline. If not, we'll see you next Thursday where the Chicago Bears are going to hopefully enter a new era and an era that hopefully has a lot of winning and a quarterback that breaks not just Bears records, but NFL records. We'll see. So
hell yeah, let's go.
We appreciate you all. We'll be back next Thursday and Friday for the draft. And again, like, subscribe, tell a friend, and we appreciate you guys.
Peace.